Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? It's John, Gamester81. I am super excited to finally be able to announce a new upcoming retro project, a new gaming project coming out soon called the RetroBlox. This is a super ambitious project. I've known about it for about a year, a little over a year actually. I've kept quiet about it intentionally. I'll explain why here later in the video. But from what I've seen of it and what I know about it, I personally think this potentially could be pardon the pun here, but it could be a game changer when it comes to how we play retro games. So what is the RetroBlox? You're probably wondering yourself, what's the RetroBlox? The best way to explain it, think of it like a base console unit, and then they have what they call these element modules that will be available. They're separate, and what they do is they plug into the base console. Kind of think of it like, I don't know if you guys remember the Pioneer Laser Active console. There was basically, it's a Laserdisc system that had Genesis pack as well as TurboGrafx 16 pack. If you guys are familiar with that system, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Basically, for example, let's say you have an NES element module. You plug in the very front of it. There's going to be a cartridge outlet. You can plug in the cartridge, the NES cartridge. There'll be controller ports as well. You can use your own controller. There will be a proprietary controller that will also come with the system. And basically how it's going to work, it's going to play in 1080p. There'll be online connectability. There'll be an online marketplace where you can buy games. You can buy old classic games. You can download new homebrew games for that particular platform, which is sweet. I'm super excited about that part of it. So what they're doing is they're taking what we love about modern games and they're taking what we love about retro games and they're basically marrying the two together, which is sweet. They're merging the two together. I'm super excited about this. So other elements that will be available, I mentioned the NES already. There'll be a Super Nintendo / Super Famicom one. It is gonna be region free, so it will also play, European games. It will play Japanese cartridges. There's going to be a Genesis one, a Mega Drive one, as well as it's also going to be able to play the Sega CD games. So there's going to be like a CD unit as well, so it'll read all those CDs as long as you have the right element plugged into it. There's going to be a TurboGrafx 16 one, a PC Engine one, of course, the same one, and Super Graphics, which is kind of obscure console. It only came out in Japan. A lot of gamers don't know about it, but there are a handful of great games for it. And there's also going to be a PlayStation 1 element. So that's all they've announced so far. I do want to give you guys exclusive news right now that no one really knows at this point. It hasn't been publicly announced yet, but there's going to be an Atari 2600 element as well that's going to be available. So basically you can play anything from the really retro pre-NES games to late 90s games. This is going to open the opportunities for people to get more involved with buying retro games, so to speak. I'm really excited about this. I don't know as far as specs go, as far as what the specs of the console is per se. I don't know a lot of details on the price because I know a lot of you guys are wondering what's the price. And let me just back up real quick and explain to you guys how I know a lot about this system already. So about a year ago, I was approached by a gentleman called Brian. He reached out to me. I met him back in February of last year, 2016. He reached out to me, says, John, I'm working on a project. He had me sign a non-disclosure agreement. Of course, I'm a man of my word. I didn't want to spill the beans early, so to speak. So I read about it, and I'll be honest with you guys, I was a little hesitant about this particular system. When he asked me, I was excited, of course, because I'm a retro guy, but this was like the tail end of what was going on with the Coleco Chameleon. I'm sure a lot of you guys remember that whole debacle, and certainly I learned my lesson in that system the hard way. So I was kind of hesitant. I'm like, I don't know, but I've gotten to know Brian really well over the past year. He came out to the Game On Expo, which is the gaming convention I run out in Phoenix in August. I saw a prototype of the system. I met him back at E3 last year as well, and he showed me the controller that's going to be included with the system. I was actually able to hold the prototype of the controller and kind of see the button layout, and it really fit really well to my big ass hands, which is encouraging, I guess. So that was really cool, and I got to know him well. And not only is Brian really passionate about retro gaming, but he's also been involved with games himself. For example, he was a project manager for Ratchet & Clank, which I'm sure many of us heard of that game before, which is great. And his partner in crime here is Eric. I've got a list of what Eric's been involved with. He's been involved with Squaresoft, Insomnia, which Brian, of course, was as well. He was a principal engineer for Titanfall, which is awesome. And he's been a lead engineer on multiple projects. So these guys know their stuff, and they're passionate about it. It isn't like trying to get a quick buck out of people. And he gave me kind of a price range as far as what this thing is going to kind of range in. I'm not at liberty to really tell you guys about it at this point. I'm gonna leave that to them to announce. But I will say this, when I heard the range, I can tell you it is extremely reasonable for what it is and what it has to offer, and it makes me even that much more excited. So you're not gonna look at the price when they announce it and like, wow, that's super expensive. This is not a price grab situation, guys. And I realize there's still a lot of maybe carryover and hostility towards the Coleco Chameleon and how that was handled. Mike completely messed that up, and he handled things extremely poorly. He was in it for the wrong reasons and intentions. I think we saw through that bullshit of Mike's and how that was handled. But these guys, from what I can tell and from what I know, these guys are extremely sincere about their intentions. They want to come out with a project that's A, very decently priced, and B, that's going to get people more into retro games, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that. And if you look at what happened with the Chameleon, for example, and there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of discussion. Most of it was obviously heated, of course, in the moment, understandably so. But what I got from all that was that there are people who are passionate about retro gaming, and I think when people can see through the BS of it, they get upset, and that's completely understandable. But I think if you market it right, if you do it right, there is a market for something like this. So I'm really excited personally to see how this comes, how this whole thing unfolds. I'm in the know as far as what's coming out for this console, so I'll have more exclusive information for you guys later down the road. So I encourage you guys, if you aren't subscribed already, please subscribe to my videos, to my channel. Please like this video, I appreciate that. Leave a comment below. I'm curious what you guys think about the system in general. What are some element modules that you like to see? What are some? I personally love to see a Dreamcast one. I'd love to see a ColecoVision one. That's my personal love. I love both those consoles. I'd love to see those. But I think what they have listed so far are awesome, and I think it really is going to open the door for maybe the younger crowd audience to get more into retro gaming, which is certainly nothing wrong with that. So I ask you guys to hold off on any strong opinions about this console until we know more about it. But I'm kind of curious. Of course, we're all going to form our own opinions, whether it's good or bad, and that's fine. We're all entitled to opinion. But leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. I'm curious what you guys feel about it. They're also going to be at the SoCal Retro Gaming Expo this weekend, February 4th through 5th. It's going to be Ontario Convention Center. So what I'll do is I'll put a link below to that particular expo. In case you guys are in the area, I'll put a link to the RetroBlox website, their Facebook. They're going to have weekly updates basically leading up to, they're doing a Kickstarter. It's going to launch March 29th, I believe. So stay tuned if you want to stay in the know. They'll certainly have updates of what's going on. But back to the SoCal Retro Gaming Expo, they're going to actually have a demo there where people can actually hands-on play it, see it. You can ask questions. They're going to be engaged. They're trying to be as transparent as possible here with this project. So I give them kudos for that. I'm curious what you guys think. Please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. And of course, game on.